Καλησπέρα σε όλους. Καλώς ήρθατε. Good afternoon. Thank you all for coming. My name is Athina Korlira. I'm a journalist, and I will be the moderator of today's very fascinating discussion. I don't want to waste any of the speakers' time, so I will not make long introductions. I would like to call Dr. Areti Dimitra Douka from the National and Kappatos University of Athens for a small welcome speech.
Thank you all for being here for the presentation of this very important scientific and academic work. Coming from a background completely different from the background of literary studies, as I approached this book by Dimitris and Debra, I found myself reading it not only as a technical and scientific work, but as a complex narrative of systems, decisions, and conditions. And in this perspective led me to a simple but powerful thought. What if transport accidents are not merely events, but texts to be interpreted? And if we were to approach them in this way, then investigation becomes an act of interpretation, not the search of a culprit, but the decoding of a system speaking through failure. This, I believe, captures the essence of this high-level research and best practices work, which offers an in-depth and forward-looking rethinking of accident investigation in complex socio-technical systems. It reflects a decisive transition from traditional linear causality models towards a holistic and systemic understanding of safety, particularly within aviation and other high-reliability domains. At the core of this book lies a fundamental argument. Accidents cannot be sufficiently explained through isolated human actions. Human performance is always embedded within a dynamic system shaped by organizational systems, regulatory frameworks, technological interfaces, and operational pressures. In this sense, human error is not the cause, but the outcome for deeper system conditions. This perspective invites us to move beyond a deeply rooted but limited question, not who made the mistake, but what made the mistake possible. In doing so, it reflects a broader epistemological shift from judgment to understanding and from attribution to explanation. In many ways, this logic is not unfamiliar. In classical tragedy, catastrophe never emerges from a single action, but from a constellation of conditions, constraints, structures, and human limitations. What these books demonstrate is that modern transport accidents follow a similar pattern. They are not individual failures, but systemic events. The strength of this work lies in its methodological depth and analytical rigor. It draws extensively on established frameworks, such as the Swiss cheese model, STAMP, demonstrating how safety breakdowns emerge through interaction of latent conditions, organizations' influences, and real-time operational demands. Their combined use offers a comprehensive and operationally relevant understanding of accident causation. At the same time, the book places strong emphasis on human performance, cognition, and adaptability. It examines how decision-making, workload, situational awareness, and environmental factors shape operational behavior, contributing to a deeper understanding of resilience, not only as recovery from failure, but as the capacity to anticipate, adopt, and sustain safe performance under varying conditions. Equally important, it is its forward-looking perspective. The book introduces a new paradigm in which accident investigation evolves into proactive, data-driven, and system-oriented discipline. Within this framework, artificial intelligence and advanced analytical tools are not replacements for human judgment, but enablers of enhancing human understanding. Technologies such as data fusion, digital twins, and machine learning allow investigations to identify patterns, detect anomalies, and anticipate risks before they materialize. This marks a fundamental shift from reactive investigation towards predictive safety management, while at the same time requiring ethical governance, transparency, and continuous human oversight. As Eliot once asked, Where is the wisdom we have lost in knowledge? Where is the knowledge we have lost in information? A question that resonates strongly in an era of data-driven safety systems, reminding us that the challenge is not only to accumulate data, but to transform it into meaningful understanding. In essence, this work moves us from linear causality to systemic understanding, from reactive investigation to predictive safety, and from blame to learning. At the center of this transformation remains the human, not as a weak point in this system, but as a situated actor embedded with complex conditions that shape perception, judgment, and action. This is why the concept of just culture becomes so central. It represents not the absence of accountability, but a transition towards meaningful accountability grounded in understanding rather than punishment. Within the Greek context, this relevance of this perspective is particularly significant and crucial. Greece, currently facing the challenge of strengthening its accident investigation mechanism across multiple transport domains. This requires not only alignment with international regulatory frameworks, but also the development of culture based on transparency, open communication, and trust. The establishment of clear investigative procedures, standardized methodology, and independent oversight mechanism is essential. Equally critical is the transparent dissemination of investigative outcomes, which enhances accountability and supports continuous improvement across the safety ecosystem. What is ultimately at stake is not only the improvement of investigative procedures, but the redefinition of responsibility in complex society. In systems where humans, technology, and institutions are inseparably intertwined, responsibility is no longer located, it is distributed. And it is precisely this distributed responsibility that this book invites us to understand, to govern, and ultimately to trust and interpret. Beyond investigation, the book contributes to a broader design of future transportation systems, particularly within the emerging concept of smart cities. In such environments, transportation systems are interconnected, data-driven, and continuously adaptive, with safety embedded as a core design principle rather than an afterthought. Athens represents a compelling example of the city with the potential to evolve into a smart and resilient urban environment. Through ongoing investments in digital transformation, urban mobility, and intelligent systems, Athens can leverage the principle outlined in this book to enhance safety across its transportation networks. By integrating real-time data analytics, human-centered design, and transparent governance frameworks, Athens can develop a proactive safety model in which risks are identified early, human performance is supported, and system resilience is continuously strengthened. In conclusion, this book serves not only as a scientific contribution, but as a strategic guide for advancing accident investigation practices and designing safer transportation ecosystems. It bridges theory and application, offering insights that are directly relevant to modern, technology-driven environments. If the city of the future is to be intelligent, it must be first intelligible. And this book offers exactly that, a way to read, to understand, to redesign the systems that shape our collective safety. And safety is not only a technical issue, but it is a deeply human responsibility.
Thank you very much, Dr. Douka, for that wonderful introduction. Investigating transport accidents is a very technical, complex issue that has a lot of things that one has to consider in order to understand how something happens, the causes, and how we can advance and proceed to that. And in today's discussion, we will try to analyze not only what the book says, but also we will hear from experts on the field. So we have today's presentation will be in two separate groups. The reason for that is in order to have short questions and answers after each group. Maybe some of you have questions to pose to the speakers. The first two speakers will be the two authors, Dr. Dimitris Ziakkas and Dr. Debra Henneberry, from Coventry University from the UK and Purdue University from the USA, respectively. So the floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. I hope you enjoy the coffee as the initial part of the discussion. So, the presence today of all distinguished speakers and also all the colleagues that they are invited is not only ceremonial. From my point of view, it depicts the high standards and knowledge of experts in safety. Looking from the left, I can see the Aegean and Sky Express safety managers there together. A lot of old, not old, I can say, colleagues that we work together in the Air Force and also in academia. That gives, for me, the confidence that today we will try to explore in different terms the specific topic that is related with safety, technology, smart cities, and also the investigation process. I can see a lot of colleagues and friends, and I can say that I'm highly emotionally affected of that. So if I make any mistake, it's a human error. So what happened today and what's happening all the previous days? We have seen a lot of times investigation reports and other topics. The main thing that it created, it was an incident or accident. And then we have to connect it with the safety, with the transportation, and all the other way of managing a project. So when we want to manage a project, we have to do it in terms to be effective, efficient, and also sustainable. For the effectivity, it has to follow the ICAO Annex 13 for the transportation in aviation, some other annexes, and to be in time, that means the efficiency, and also to respect all the involved partners and the society. And then is the sustainability, what we really learn from all this procedure. Starting point from this book, it was the Helios accident. It was my first days in Purdue University when I met Professor Dr. Henneberry, and we were thinking what is the common point that we can make a research. So it was a successful story of an accident investigation that it was communicated in the society of the incident accident investigators and the human factors, that it depicted in a nice way, using all the elements that they are described in the book, like HVAC, AXIMAP, fault tree analysis, all of these things, and connected nicely the actors that will make errors or mistakes, the society, and also the relatives, and try to make the transportation safe. For Greece, I can say, as we're starting this presentation from Athens, it will continue in Purdue University in the United States, the second presentation, and the third one, it will be in the Coventry University in UK. We are trying to connect the European safety culture, the FAA culture, and also United Kingdom, as it is now after Brexit, a different category. So we are trying to show with this book and with the presence of all of you that you are already participated for more than half a century, we can say, for in that specific target as a predictive, integrated safety ecosystem, that it can facilitate a lot of other aspects like the smart city that we are aiming and the new technologies that later in the group B, Vasilis Kappatos will explain in detail how we will do it. Faidon, you are getting a little bit older, I can say, but more wisdom, as you can see on that specific presentation. So, the next item that we may have when it works, it will be to define the human error. And at that point, I think the more expert is Professor Henneberry, who will define what the politician many times mention human error, but let's see the difference of an error, a mistake, and also the violation. So, Debra.
The critical question is what public opinion expects from investigation process and report. In different terms, it is critical transition from national fragmented safety approaches to a globally harmonized safety ecosystem. Despite the existence of ICAO standards and recommended practices, SARPs, for aviation and SAE recommendations, significantly variably persists across regions in how safety, investigation, and operational practices are implemented. This variability is not merely procedural. It reflects deeper differences in organizational culture, regulatory maturity, and technological adoption. Starting from the Helios accident and extended research from the FAA, Dr. Ziakkas, carried out in revisiting autoflight mode confusion, our 4 years of research revealed that compliance with standards alone is insufficient if interpretation, training, and system integration are inconsistent. As a result, the accident catalyzed a shared international compliance with a shared international effort, particularly between Purdue University, Coventry University, the Greek Civil Aviation Authority medical team, Dr. Pepi, Dr. Odysseia, and Dr. Dimitris Dorvis, and CRC Press to develop a 360-degree approach to safety, which ultimately informed the conceptual foundation of the book. A simplified answer in the question of human error and who made the mistake is the clarification of the three fundamental human factor constructs. Error, which is unintentional actions or cognitive failures, often linked to system design limitations or human-machine interface challenges. Mistakes, which are incorrect decisions based on flawed knowledge, training gaps, or misinterpretation of situational data. And violations, which are deliberate deviations from procedures, often influenced by organizational culture, operational pressure, or normalization of deviance. These categories must not be treated in isolation. Instead, they should be embedded within an integrated safety management system where human behavior is understood as part of a broader socio-technical system. The Helios case demonstrated that what initially appears as individual error is often the result of latent systemic conditions, including inadequate training, poor communication, and organizational misalignment. This reinforces the transition from a blame-oriented model to a just culture framework, where accountability and learning coexist.
As we mentioned before, we have in the safety paradigm to work between the management, the financial management, and the safety management. And between them is the safety margin. Is what the safety managers, they are highly concerned and they give all the information regarding the operations. So we have the safety one, that means based on investigations, we follow a reactive approach to make the system better. And now we are trying to implement the safety two. That is a different approach. That means through a reactive approach with health monitoring system and use of the new technology as AI and other elements, we will be able to be on the spot regarding inconsistencies that they may exist in the aviation ecosystem. As you can see behind in the slide, in the safety one, we are trying to investigate a specific margin, just approximately 5%. For the experts from academia, the 5% is always something that it gives us 95% and 5% regarding precision and accuracy, and some other elements that were highly concerned in the classification and also in the certification of the system. But the big number that dictates the specific research is that we want to enhance the safety through a predictive approach. That means we have to use health monitoring system and all the other elements to enhance safety. Moreover, what I want to highlight in the first part of the discussion is that we're working with investigation. Investigation is something that is commonly accepted that after the accident. But the main principle for many of the participants here that have been involved in investigations is start from the very beginning, from the very first time that we have the accident. That means the search and rescue mission, they have to be highly connected through a specific management team that it will take all the information before we start to make the investigation. We have the pleasure today with General Vamvakos to explain how we have to connect the safety and also the new technologies that Vasilis we will say through CERT regarding the new technologies. But mostly, we have to understand how we communicate the safety and also the specific investigation progress and process to the public acceptance. So in that part, I think, again, Debra will be able to explain a few more things regarding what is the approach of the book and the new tendency in the investigation process.
Thank you. One critical dimension of this discussion focuses on the independence of accident investigations, a cornerstone of credible and effective safety systems. From initial training stages to advanced institutions such as the NTSB, independence ensures that investigations remain objective, unbiased, and free from political or organizational influence. However, independence alone is not sufficient. The increasing reliance on external experts introduces new challenges, including potential conflicts of interest, fragmented communication, and inconsistencies in methodological approaches. This highlights the need for standardized training, certification, and governance frameworks for investigators. Equally critical is communication management. Investigations operate within a complex ecosystem involving regulators, operators, media, and the public. Transportation communication fosters trust, supports just culture principles, and ensures that safety recommendations are understood and implemented effectively. For Greece, this represents a strategic opportunity to redefine its investigative framework and transportation safety infrastructure, including air traffic control and smart cities' advanced air mobility. By integrating independence, transparency, and advanced technologies, Greece can establish a next-generation safety transportation investigation model aligned with the EU, EASA, and ICAO standards. This model would not only enhance national safety capabilities, but also position Greece as a leader in the global aviation safety community. The Greek case study will be presented from Stathis and Thanasis.
Okay, the Greek case. First speaker, Mr. Stathis Binis, former president. Thanasis, excuse me, I just combine your names. Thanasis Binis, the former president of Air Accident Investigation Authority of Greece, and thereafter Dr. Stathis Malakis, and I'm sorry for the mistake, Air Traffic Control and Accident Investigation, again, the Greek case.
Good morning to everybody. It is a great pleasure to be to be among distinguished guests and colleagues. First of all, I would like to warmly thank the editors, Dr. Dimitris and Debra, for the excellent work and giving me, together with Stathis, the opportunity to contribute to this book. As everybody knows in this room, aviation is one of the safest modes of transport today, although this did not happen by chance. Over the past decades, accident rates had significantly decreased despite the dramatic increase in air traffic. This improvement is largely the result of systemic accident and serious incident investigation, whose aim is not to apportion blame or liability, but to prevent the future accidents. Accident and serious incident investigation play a central and important role in aviation safety by identifying root causes and preventing reoccurrence. As everybody knows, we operate in a highly complex aviation environment where technology, human factors, and global operation continually interact. A key framework supporting the effort is the Safety Management System, the so-called SMS, which promotes a proactive approach through hazard identification, risk assessment, risk management, and continuous improvement. However, while the investigations are essential, they are also extremely challenging. Based on interviews with experienced professionals and my own experience as a former chairman of Hellenic Iraq's Investigation and Aviation Safety Board, I will briefly highlight the main challenges. This can be divided in 8 categories: organizational, personal, technical, cooperation and coordination, legal and regulatory, stakeholders' pressure, time and cultural factors, and technological evolution and adaptation. This clearly shows that accident investigation is a multidimensional progress. I say a few words about each one. First, organization challenges. Investigation often face limited resources, a lack of specialized personnel, and delay in accessing critical data. Even reaching the accident site or securing key evidence can be difficult. Second, personal challenges. Investigators work under demanding conditions. They are exposed to fatal accidents with grieving families while dealing with stress and fatigue. Despite this, they must remain objective and professional. Third, technical challenges. Modern aviation systems are highly complex. Investigators must recover and analyze flight data that may be damaged or incomplete, understand advanced technologies, and reconstruct events from scattered wreckages. These require multidisciplinary expertise. Fourth, cooperation and coordination. Accident investigations are international by nature. They involve experts from different countries and organizations. This creates challenges such as communication issues, cultural differences, and unclear roles. Effective coordination is essential, but this is not always an easy case. Fifth, legal and media pressure. The investigator must navigate complex legal environment, including jurisdictional issues, and they need to balance confidentiality and transparency. Legal pressure can complicate and delay the whole process. Sixth, stakeholders and media pressure. Investigators must deal with airlines and manufacturers, victim families, the media, and political authorities. Each group requires and asks quick answers. Managing this expectation requires transparency, professionalism, and sensitivity. Seventh, time constraint and cultural factors. There is often pressure to produce results quickly. However, investigations are complex and sometimes take years. At the same time, cultural sensitivity must be respected, and especially in international cases. Speed must never compromise accuracy. Finally, technological evolution and adaptation. Technology in aviation is evolving rapidly. Investigators must handle large volumes of data and address challenges such as cyber security and artificial intelligence. Continuous training is essential. Technology is a powerful tool, but human judgment remains irreplaceable. Safety Investigator Authority, so-called SEAS, have to implement emerging technology in their investigation plan. Coordination with search and rescue, initial mission using drones or advanced air mobility, and artificial intelligence analysis of the scene helping safe investigation mission from the zero time. The role of government commitment to technology implementation is mandatory. To conclude, accident investigation is a complex and multidisciplinary process, but is essential for aviation safety. Investigators face organizational, technical, legal, and human challenges to a constantly evolving environment. To improve this process, the aviation community must invest in training and resources, strengthen international cooperation, use technology responsibly, and always prioritize safety over speed. At the same time, maintain independence and credibility is crucial. Ultimately, aviation accident investigations are difficult because they operate at the intersection of technology, human factors, law, and society. But every investigation serves one goal: making aviation safer. Thank you very much.
I better wear my glasses. Dr. Stathis Malakis, continuing with the Greek case.
I can say this. Okay. So, hello everyone. I'm deeply honored to be here for Dimitris and Debra and all these colleagues here representing the very finest of the aviation communities. And this is my presentation. Actually, Dimitris asked me to make something in order, let's say, to blur these things about the accident investigation and everything, to understand AI, machine learning, and also in the case of air traffic control. The case is, we need to understand the system, especially whenever we want to investigate it. If we don't understand the system, we cannot investigate it. So I will speak about the air traffic control. And before this, I will try, let's say, to provide some answers about the cases about the AI in safety critical systems. Why AI? Because in air traffic control and also in the aviation, now we have AI and machine learning, three things. We have the capacity to collect and store massive amounts of data. We have a significant increase in computing power. Actually, our mobile phone is more powerful than a supercomputer I used 30 years ago when I was studying mathematics and computer science back, and I had only 1 megabyte of RAM, and this was called a supercomputer back then, doing mathematics, and also the first case of the neural networks. And also the development of increasingly powerful algorithms and architecture. The algorithms is the essential, this is the machine, this is the jet engine of the AI and machine learning. It's something that changes radically because now we can learn from data. This is the three things behind aviation AI and air traffic control. So the next thing is about the air traffic control. We often see only the aviation, the uniforms, the hostesses, everything, and we say the airplanes. But in order to move the system, people like me are behind radar screens, providing clearances, providing information, providing instructions in order just to move the things. Either it is for political or general aviation or the Air Force and everything. So behind all this, we see air traffic controllers. This is the air traffic management system. And what we need in order to understand this system is that we have 5 major drivers. The first is the minimization of delays. Actually, yesterday, when the weather was very bad, everyone was calling the ATC saying, what about Santorini? It's going to have a 45 minutes delay, and the weather outside was, I was holding over Kea, I was holding over Didimo in the terminal approach area control and trying also to minimize the delays. The second one is that we have an accommodating a diverse area of autonomous aircraft. A lot of UAVs, Sperver, V-Bats, Heron, everything trying to accommodate. And this creates a different line of dimension because all these things have very advanced algorithms. Return into home and something goes bad, this thing can think of itself, it can go to a return home and land. And the air traffic controllers has to manage this in order not to have air traffic control collisions for the aircraft trajectories and also the environmental impact. In the Athens, Venizelos, we change every day, twice, the runway use in order to accommodate environmental restrictions, noise abatement, and everything in Venizelos. So what about the limitations? I will give you, this is the core of our, the limitations and the concerns about the AI and machine learning. When we speak about AI and machine learning, it's a different thing because a lot of people think that the algorithm is the one that produces a solution. This is wrong. The algorithm tries to understand our data, be a human being an aircraft, being a social network activity, everything, and then it learns. These things learns in a statistical way. Even the large language model, ChatGPT and Claude and all these things, even the Chinese one, the DeepSeek, they have in their memory all the books in English, every information provided in the internet, and they can rapidly change and find the information they need. They don't understand. They don't have a body. They don't understand. They are not like pilots. They are not air traffic controllers. They are not just like the investigators in the field that can feel, that can smell, that can see, that have the ultimate responsibility. But all these things know everything: SOPs, manuals, ICAO documents, SARFs, and everything. So the first thing is that they don't understand the way we understand safety and the way we understand just cause. Other things is about explainability. Even the best AI and machine learning scientists, and I can tell you that from my personal experience as a mathematician, the very best of them, they have about 340 billion parameters. Imagine an equation with 340 billion parameters. Is there anyone who can understand this? No way. The other is about the classical problems, data leakage, data labeling, future selection, and everything concerning data. And also the consistency checks, the hyperparameters tunings, normalization, representatives. All these things may be, let's say, Chinese to you, but it's the case where I have the data, but I have to be sure that this is the right data to produce the right results and learn. Imagine, for example, if you have an ATR and data for an ATR and try, let's say, to have this data work for an Airbus 320. This can never happen. Only some essential parameters. And the other thing is that we cannot have actual control about AI and machine learning when it fails. So this is the key things. I have also produced some specifically. I will not bother you in order to have it in detail, just like this. I will briefly discuss in less than 1 minute about the levels. The problems we have is about the political and regulatory level. In the European Union, we are too fragmented. Everyone has a different perspective about what data means, about how to do accident investigations, the ethics, and everything. The second one is about the air navigation service provision. As a business, we have to be there in order to make money at the end of the day. And this is very business constrained. The third one is the technical level. I have the curse of dimensionality. Sometimes even I am an air traffic controller in the terminal area of Venizelos. We have 22 aircrafts per hour. If you have to sequence them, it's more than 8 billion different sequences. But we have to choose one. And we have only one case to do that. Otherwise, the pilots from one airline or the other airline say, why am number 2 behind this one? Why am number 3? So this is the key thing. So whenever you have something, its complexity grows exponentially. And we know that from the 50s. The fourth one is the operational level. When we have AI and machine learning, we're changing the concept of operations, the CONOPS. It's something different, and we have to rely on new concepts in order to accommodate UAVs, new aircraft, long-range aircraft to avoid delays and everything. And the last one is the air traffic controllers. When you have the air traffic controllers, you have to say something about this. They mentioned before just culture. Just culture means that when I do a mistake, maybe this mistake is a known mistake. Given my training, my experience, the data I have, I can say that this is a known mistake. And this is very difficult when I have to deal with AI machine learning, saying that if the AI machine learning say that put this aircraft on a heading of 340 and descend it to 6,000 feet, and something goes wrong, who is to blame? me or the machine. Thank you very much for everything.
We are very few women, so I would anyway give you the right.
I have a question for Dr. Stathis Malakis. You talked about the limitations of AI in safety investigation, and I definitely agree with you. But the question that popped up in my mind is there a way that we can use AI and machine learning to the benefit of safety investigation or safety operations?
Thank you. Can you hear me? Yes. So, there is always a better way to do that because every technology comes in two parts. Whenever you have a new technology, you introduced about a new type of errors, new hazards, and everything. There is a way, but we have to put some fundamentals in the structure and how we use AI. Actually, in my perspective, when I do safety investigation, safety assessment, safety survey, safety research study, I use AI. I use AI, but in a controlled way. It's called prompt engineering and everything. And we also have to provide, let's say, a checklist and know the limitations of the system. I am lucky that I know the limitation. I'm a mathematician and I know how, let's say, the high level they work. But I can definitely tell you that they can be used, but in a very disciplined, and you have to have an awareness of their limitations. And always to ask, is these things hallucinating confidently? Because whenever they don't find the answer, they fabricate one. This is the main limitation. If you ask something and they can never find the answer, they fabricate one. And they say, this is confidently the answer. Yes, I use it as a tool.
May I help?
The human judgment is
Yeah.
in
So,
place.
EASA established in 2020 a specific document. It is regarding the implementation of AI in aviation. So it has 6 different levels. It is 1A, 1B, 2A, 2B, 3A, 3B. So what you describe, if I understand well the question, is between 2A and 2B. It's a little bit technical. I think also Vasilis will be able to elaborate more on that. Moreover, instead of this problem that exists now in the implementation of AI system and also in the certification, there is a specific way of doing that because they're not a deterministic approach. It's something different that exactly explains the threats. The main threats that we have, it is regarding the ethical approval or decision-making. The second part is the trustworthiness that I think already the Greek case, they explained to that. And the third case that it's a good opportunity for collaboration of all the involved parties for the airliners that they are here. We have the Hellenic Air Force Academy with 2 professors, also a lot of colleagues from Air Force, and the representative and the CERT, that we may have a specific paradigm of how we can use it in their traffic controller. Anyhow, as a comment, the Greek air traffic control infrastructure, it still faces a lot of different problems. It is like the difference between the analog to digital transformation of the airplanes. So I can say that we still have a lot of things to cover, coming to the specific area and point that we can say for the implementation of AI in the terminal approach of Venizelos, and I think it will take some time. Do you have a different opinion on that? So as to warm up a little bit the discussion.
Yes, it's the same. I agree with you as always, Dimitris. It's a very democratic way to agree with Dimitris. You are going ahead. Otherwise, the airplane steers to the left or to the right. Yes, you have to be in control always. The problem is that is something like the pilots going from the piston engine back in the jet era. So it's just something like that, and also for the air traffic controllers going from the stream pods and the strip holders and everything to the radar area. So you need a new kind of soft skills, mental models, and also training in order to understand and tame these things. They are good, but they are something else, because sometimes they feel, and you feel, and that's why Joshua Bengio and also Jeffrey Hinton, which are the godfathers of AI, got used that, and they have the opinion that they think like us. They don't think like us. They are just statistical inference, but they are very good in imitating thinking.
We have a microphone.
First of all, I want to thank the two writers and doctors on the panel. I want to ask Dr. Malakis, how can you manage the low altitude traffic, the drones and the unmanned, if the Greek authorities have in their mind to install the low altitude traffic automatic system? Because we don't have it.
Actually, you are referring to the UTM. Yes. The key with the UTM is that when you have actually traffic below 400 feet, because that's the concept of the UTM, to have all these drones and everything, you will have control detection and also traffic avoidance algorithms embedded in these UAVs. The air traffic controllers are not going to, let's say, try to deconflict every pair. It's not something like having an Airbus 320 of Aegean and an ATR trying to deconflict them in the final of runway 03 left of Venizelos. It will be trying to manage an area below 400 feet and try to have the manned aircraft, the big aircraft, the jet, the airliners, the turboprops and everything, outside this area. And just to have these things try to deconflict themselves, which is a very difficult problem. Mathematically, it's consistent, and we can, let's say, solve it right now. Actually, the equations is 200 years old, the conflicting equations. It's something very old for the mathematicians. But the very intensity of the traffic and also the layering and the conflicting geometries is something that creates and poses challenges.
Shall I break the microphone?
No, I think it's okay.
Okay.
First of all, I want to thank you for the first part. It was very intriguing and very mind-blowing, as I say. My questions will be towards Dr. Ziakkas, my friend Dimitris, and also to Dr. Malakis at some point. First of all, I think that we should agree that we have stepped on further than the agentic era of AI, and we should deal with it more like a utility rather than a tool, such as electricity or something else. Okay. Based on that, and having set that framework, my question and my thinking was how can we implement, setting aside the legal part, of course, GDPR, etc., behavioral tracking in numbers, in actual tracking KPIs, in audit, because preventive and proactive investigation is actually an audit from it, not investigation. Let's say, since we have the ATCs with us, why don't we implement and augment all the devices that they use with track IR, monitoring and profiling their eye movements, their hand movements, or everything. And based on that, set an algorithm, build something that can augment their behavior during operations, and further ado, enhance further our economies or whatever we want to build. And the example of the EASA is just because I want to trigger Dr. Malakis to answer. We can do that with every specialty in the ecosystem that we are dealing with. So, if you could just please elaborate. Thank you.
I will start. Thanks. Just for the history, we have common grounds in our studies in human factors, and I can see also Eva from Embry-Riddle is here. So if we don't answer properly, you may elaborate also. So regarding the question, as far as I realize, is the limitations of the usage regarding observable behavior markers, through technology, and you may say through AI, and data to connect with SGN, Sky Express, and Marathon regarding the EBT and CBDA concepts just to make it more practical. The answer, again, it's based on the technology readiness level, from my point of view. If I want to answer you technically, it is up to TRL 427 now, so that is neat area of improvement. That we are waiting for the acceptance of the AI in transportation document of EASA, that it will allow us to use the technology. Regarding now the research, eye tracker, yes, it has to be done. And if we want to have monitoring of systems, we have to use it. The Dragonfly project of Airbus, I can say the 30% of the single pilot or enhanced pilot operation follows the technique that we will have eye trackers and other monitoring systems that will facilitate and give the information to the central station, or how we can say that the pilot is incapacitated or able, fit to perform the duties. Regarding the nature of the AI that they will use, we can have an initial approach, but I think it will be too technical. It's not that I don't want to answer, but that it will create a little bit more complex situation. Now, throwing the ball to Stathis, I think for AI and ATC, the answer is?
The answer is not much different from what is happening to the pilots. For example, when I was doing my PhD, I was in Paris, in Eurocontrol, and then the buzzword was virtual reality. And I was an experiment, an air traffic controller as an experiment, using virtual reality to control the traffic. You know that I have to be inside the TMA of Athens. And I was simulating ground control movements, air movements, and with my hands. So I could use this as an airplane, turn it with just having this to the right, climbing, descending, stopping the distance or the control. It's something very immersive, but at the end of the day, there are too many new errors, too many challenges to be solved. What will happen if the AI tracker made a mistake? What will happen if something that's controlling, I'm seeing this pair of aircraft and I'm thinking this. In the air traffic control, this happens. Remember that the main problem, the main limitation, when you have to put all these good things, they work in the ATC, but the problem is you don't have a physical process. It's not a natural process. When you have an aircraft and you're flying an aircraft, I was very fortunately because before I became an air traffic controller, I was trained as a pilot. I have my PPL license, so I know how it's stalling. I know how it's turning, what to be in a base turn, what is to climb and to descend. The problem with that is always that if you have all these sensors abandoned to you, you create new problems, especially when these sensors fail. or when you are doing something, the sensor is not accepting this or not dissipating. But the answer is that they can be used, as I said before, in a disciplined way, and also to try to find what new errors they will introduce in the process.
Thank you very much. Let's take a 5-minute break in order to change the panel. We will continue with presentations and we'll have a chance to have further questions and answers at the very end. Thank you. So before we continue with Group B, with the next group of panelists, Dr. Ziakkas would like to clarify something.
It's a good idea, everyone, to sit down, relax, and enjoy the 5-star service. So, for what we have to do now, I skipped on purpose a slide, and that it was a big mistake, not an error. So, just for that side, they are the safety guys, and it will help a lot. The main aspect of the book is to identify the safety margin that it will be between the catastrophe and the financial management. And that is what we navigate and we are trying to do now with all the AI items. The second part that on purpose I didn't mention initially, it is, for the Greek ATC, Stathis is somewhere here or is hiding. So, how we will give the new technology. Sometimes we have a solution looking for a problem. That is happening a lot of times in aviation. We don't have a problem, but we're trying to sell a solution. And then we are going to the other side, the commercial readiness level. That means that we have area of universities, industry, to find out exactly what is the technology readiness level of the system. That it gives the answer to you, Dimitris, regarding we have to find out the safety space that it will confirm with the TRL. And that is what the test pilot mentioned sometimes to the new project, your kid is ugly. That means everyone is mentioning for the kid of everyone is perfect. But in technology, we have to say, is it safe, is it legal, and what is the readiness of the initially technology to be accepted. And the second part for the AI, as Vasilis, I think, will elaborate more, is the commercial readiness level, so as to be adapted in that side. On purpose, I wanted to keep it not so technical, but that was the main intention. Okay, so let's move now to the second part, instead of the technical parts, and investigate differently the safety and how the technology will help us on that. I'm skipping now in the presentation, and then now you have it.
First, we will hear from Dr. Vasilis Kappatos from the Center for Research and Technology of Greece, CERT, and its contribution.
Good afternoon to everyone. My name is Vasilis Kappatos. I'm very happy to be here. Before I start my presentation, please allow me to say a few words about CERT, because I am not sure if you know CERT and the Hellenic Institute of Transport. CERT right now is the biggest research center in Greece. It has more than 1,700 employees. It has 5 research institutes. I am the director of the Hellenic Institute of Transport. It's the main research organization in Greece in the area of transportation. We have many research projects, more than 450 research projects active right now, and many branches. We have one branch in Piraeus, regarding naval. We have our airport in Lydia Airport, which is a joint venture between Egnatia Aviation and CERT, and our annual budget is around 75 million per year. I don't want to say more about CERT and the Hellenic Institute of Transport, just I believe it is good to know the size of research institute, which right now is in the 11th position in the whole Europe regarding the secure grant from European research project. So, it is a pleasure to present this book, which offers a thoughtful and contribution to this field. Throughout its analysis and insights, it invites us to reflect not only on current challenge, but also future direction. With reference to my view, I would like to say that transport safety from reactive investigation towards predictive system-oriented approaches has redefined the role of research centers. In modern safety ecosystems, centers such as Hellenic Institute of Transport are not longer secondary contributors, but active contributors. Their role is beyond generating knowledge to the design, validation, and implementation of technology that influence how safety is monitored, understood, and improved. This perspective is fully aligned with the central thesis of the book, which reshapes accident investigation as a systemic and human-centered process. The book emphasizes the human error should not be treated as an isolated source, but as a manifestation of interaction between organizational, technological, and operation conditions. Given this, the Hellenic Institute of Transport implements this philosophy by developing integrated frameworks that combine AI, data fusion, sensor networks, and predictive analytics. HEAT research project demonstrate how safety is integrated into transportation, including real-time monitoring system, predictive maintenance tools, and intelligent data from transport means and infrastructure. Such development reflects a transition from safety one approaches focus on failure analysis towards safety two models, which aim to understand and successfully support system performance under different operation conditions. Research centers like Hellenic Institute of Transport bridge the gap between theory and implementation. Almost all our research project is in the area of applied, not theoretical project. They translate models like AXIMAP, STAMP, and FRAM into applied tools and solutions. This enables the integration of safety across the full life cycle of transport system, from design and infrastructure to maintenance, monitoring, and investigation. The contribution of HEAT are similar, and similar research center is not limited to technological progress, but in a new form of safety control and management, where knowledge, data, and real-world conditions are continuously interconnected. The integration of research-driven technology into safety and investigation processes introduce significant opportunities and critical challenges. AI digital twins, and advanced analytics have the potential to transform accident investigations into predictive function. However, as highlighted both in the book and in the Hellenic Institute of Transport research activities, this transformation must focus, of course, in human-centric principle. In our research project, show how AI can support investigators and operators by improving awareness, detecting anomalous events, and providing evidence-based insights. Of course, this system do not replace human evaluation. Rather, they enhance it by offering new forms of understanding. This approach aligns with the book focus on keeping human at the core of safety, even as automation and intelligent systems play a prominent role. When you hear this statement from a research institute, I think it's very important that our system and the research that we do, it is in order to help and support human decision regarding the investigation. At the same time, the integration of AI into safety critical system raises important questions regarding transparency, ethics, and responsibility. The credibility of the future investigation system will depend on the ability to ensure that algorithms are explainable and align with regulatory and societal expectations. Research centers, from my point of view, play a key role in this domain by developing validated methodologies, testing frameworks, and governance models that support AI implementation. Another critical dimension is the integration of the research output into real-world operations. The future of transport safety depends on the effective coordination between researchers, investigators, operators, and, of course, regulatory bodies. As stated in our research institute, the next generation of safety system will be co-designed through collaboration, ensuring that technological innovation is aligned with the real-world needs. This perspective elevates the role of Greece within the global transport safety ecosystem through centers like our research institute. The country is placed not only as a participant, but as well a contributor to the development of advanced system methodology and intelligent investigation system. The alignment between research, policy, and operational practices creates the foundation for the new model of safety governments where innovation is linked with the social impact. In conclusion, the combination of research, intelligent technologies, and human-centered principles present a challenge and at the same time an opportunity of improving modern transport safety. The research of HIT demonstrates that the future of accident investigation will not be shaped only by technology, but also by the ability to integrate knowledge, ethics, and human performance into reliable transport systems. To wrap up, this book is not just something to read, but something to think with. I would like to take this opportunity in order to take this idea forward, question them, and build on them. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Now we will have a video message from the railway safety specialist. Most of you know him, Dr. Bart Accu.
Dear Debra and Dimitris, I greatly enjoyed reading your book investigating transport accidents. While the book uses primarily aviation examples to illustrate its principles, the core messages are broadly applicable across various transportation sectors and indeed other high-risk environments. You provide a nuanced exploration of innovative approaches for accident investigations, strongly emphasizing the significance of human performance in combination with intelligence systems for enhancing safety measures. Although sometimes questioned by more recent trends in safety management, I was happy to read that the book is still recognizing the essential role of accident investigation in driving safety improvements. This is illustrated with concrete examples that reveal the practical tools and methodologies that can enhance investigative processes. These tools are not merely theoretical, they reflect the author's commitment to translating academic principles into action-oriented strategies that industry practitioners can employ. The clear articulation of these methodologies creates a roadmap for investigating teams aiming to uncover contributing and underlying factors in accidents. A critical message throughout the book is the necessity to integrate basic safety principles, which include system thinking and performance variability into investigation practices. While these concepts are gaining traction in safety science, their adoption in occurrence investigation and broader safety management practices prove difficult and lacks recent research. Within that context, the book can definitely contribute in successfully overcoming this substantial barrier to realizing the full potential of safety science in preventing accidents and mitigating risks. Another pivotal theme is the careful consideration of artificial intelligence in transportation safety. The book advocates for a balanced approach to using AI, emphasizing the need for human oversight in all automated processes. This human-in-the-loop perspective is critical, especially in high-stakes environments where the consequences of operational failures can be catastrophic. The book illustrates various scenarios where AI can augment human decision-making rather than replace it, reinforcing the idea that technology should empower human operators rather than alienate them. Further enriching the narrative, the book also clearly acknowledged the often difficult contexts within which investigations occur. Factors such as societal and organizational pressures, resource limitations, and time constraints can significantly impede investigation performance. By shedding light on these challenges, the book illustrates the complexities involved in extracting valuable lessons from accidents and underscore their commitment to developing more effective investigation frameworks. While the book is insightful, I believe the potential to harness accident investigations to enhance an industry's capacity for safety management through accident investigation could have even been stronger. The book touches upon safety management systems, but does not delve deeply into how these principles can be better integrated into investigative processes. A more thorough exploration in this area could align with the industry's evolving landscape, emphasizing the need for investigations to adapt a more forward-looking framework. Rather than simply diagnosing past failures, there should be a strong focus on identifying proactive measures that can bolster organizational safety practices, fully acknowledging the central role of well-implemented and lived safety management systems to achieve this. Such an emphasis dovetails with the shift in perspective you propose regarding accident investigations. The book advocates for a paradigm where investigations emphasize constructive outcomes, what could be better organized, rather than merely assigning blame or dissecting who was responsible for errors. This forward-thinking approach aligns with contemporary safety management trends, suggesting that proactive rather than reactive analysis can lead to meaningful improvements. One of the book's most exciting contributions, finally, is its visions for the future of accident investigation in an increasingly digital world. you propose a concept that I would term real-time performance investigation, suggesting that digitalization could facilitate immediate data analysis and insights, creating a proactive safety management model. This idea represents a promising evolution in safeguarding against accidents, moving from retrospective analysis to a model that anticipates and mitigates risks as they arise, still building on the concepts that currently guide in-depth investigations. In conclusion, I'm happy to say that I find investigating transport accidents a timely and valuable addition to the safety management literature. Through its comprehensive exploration of human factors, intelligent systems, and investigative processes, it offers critical insights that resonate beyond the aviation sector. The book successfully champions the necessity of evolving investigative approaches to embrace both human and technological elements, paving the way for a proactive stance in accident prevention. As definitely the railway industry continues to grapple with the complexities of safety management, this book provides not only tools and methodologies, but also a refreshing vision of a future where safety practices are dynamic, integrated, and human-centered. So, my sincere congratulations to Dimitris, Debra, and everyone who contributed to this book.
Continuing from this interesting video message to Mr. Faidon Karaiosifidis, publisher, aviation magazine TC.
Thank you. I asked to repeat this slide because this is the story I would like to stick with it. This is the story I would like to talk to you about. And the story comes from what perspective? From the perspective, I'm an aerospace engineer, first of all, and I have done some work on accident investigation. Actually, my first case that I was involved, and I'm 25 years younger there. The first accident was the crash of Aeroswit, an Ukrainian Yak 42 in Pieria Mountains in Pieria. Ακριβώς Malakis was then the accident investigator, and it was the beginning of a new era in Greece with an independent body of accident investigation, totally independent from any government agencies. My approach in this book, and I would like to thank the authors for the book itself, because it serves many different disciplines. I come to you as a journalist, I come to you, I'm standing in front of you as an accident investigator, as a technical advisor for legal support in cases that go into court, and of course, as a publisher of a specialized magazine. The point is that this is, for me, this is a Bible. It is a Bible that gives several answers to questions in the effort I make and my colleagues make to present the cases of accident investigation to the general public or specialized bodies like a court of law. And whatever answers I cannot find in this book, it's also a guideline for where to look for these answers. Let me give you an example. About a month ago, I was in front of a court of law for deposition regarding an accident, and I was trying to present the case to a judge that has no knowledge of aviation itself or accident investigation. Actually, the case before that it was heard in front of that court, before the case of the accident, was a case of malpractice in in an establishment that it was selling bad food products. So from that case, we went to another case that it was dealing with the death of a pilot and 2 passengers of a rotorcraft. I was trying to explain that it was not the case of a human error made by the pilot as the defendants were claiming, but it was a case of the environment and a systemic case by the environment that forced the pilot to make the wrong decision. And this was actually the initial book that drew several different cases supporting my presentation. About 3 years ago, and today, as you all know, it was the first day of the case in court for the Tempe accident, a terrible accident that I think that it will stigmatize the Greek public and in Greece for many years. The point I would like to make related to the accident investigation and the human performance is that when you have to talk about such an accident, you have to be prepared to present the accident investigation to a public and relate the whole the work done by the investigative body to a public the correct way in order to be informed and actually to prevent exploitation by several other parties, as it was the case in Tempe. In Tempe, I was involved in a way that it's rather strange. At that time, Eudosam was not established, so all the investigation was done by the government authorities. Let me remind you that the accident was actually done, was investigated by traffic police as a traffic accident, investigated by firefighting forces as an industrial accident, and it was investigated by the civil protection as a catastrophe. What we did at that time with a team of colleagues was to organize an investigative team in order to follow aviation investigation rules in order to have a final report that it would be consistent with what we know that stands with aviation traffic accidents. The main problem with Tempe, and it closely relates with the findings in this book, is that there was a failure in communication. And when I'm talking about communication, I'm not talking, which is something that happened, communication within the operators of the train. It was a lack of communication in order to communicate the findings to the general public. The result was that several different parties exploited the case, and unfortunately this reflects to the today's outcome with a trial that I doubt that if we'll have a final end and justice very soon. But coming back to the investigation, my point of view about the book is that as a media, you have to try to formulate what you are trying to present either to a general public or to a specific public related to the findings. And it was amazing for me that all the disciplines that I'm following as an engineer, as a journalist, as an investigator, came together with an amazing way to this particular book. And as I told you before, whatever answers I didn't find in the pages of this of the book, it was a guideline to look in other sources and in other disciplines in order to complete my work. So I think that from the point of view of communication and media presentation, I have to say that I find an excellent work done, and I think that I'm waiting for the next one that is covering subjects that it were not covered in particularly in this work. So thank you.
Next speaker from the Hellenic Air Force, Lieutenant General Ioannis Vamvakos.
It seems that I'm the last one, so I'm going to be very brief.
It's another one also.
Okay, so it's not going to take me more than 30 minutes. Thank you. Thank you very much. Good afternoon to all. Thank you very much. First of all, I would like to thank my good friend Dimitris for giving me the opportunity to address this bright audience of experts in aviation. Thank you very much. It brings me back something like 28 years ago, in the summer of 1998, when I attended the flight safety school in New Mexico, Texas, and Arkansas, sponsored by the United States Air Force. Many years have passed since then, but I still remember our instructor, an old fellow from the US Air Force, that at the first day of his lessons, in his introductory speech about investigating accidents and mishap investigation, he presented us a cigar, something like this. We were surprised, and we said, what does this person need to say about this cigar? And he said, all you need in your first investigation is a cigar. And my dear friend George will fully understand me. When you go to investigate a helicopter accident, you just paralyze this cigar and you twist it. By the deformations on this cigar, setting them parallelly to the tail rotor shaft or to the main shaft, these are the axes from the transmission to the tail rotor or the main rotor, if I'm correct, George, you can understand if the engine was running or it had been stopped, if the free wheel had been engaged, and it's your first indication about how you're going to deal with a helicopter or an axis accident. It was a good start. Coming to our presentation now, to the book, and it seems that I'm not 60 years old, so I need my glasses. The book introduces a fundamental shift in how accidents are understood and investigated. It moves beyond linear causality and individual blame, proposing a human-centric, system-based approach where accidents are faced as emergent phenomena arising from interactions between technology, organization, and human performance. This perspective has direct implications for how accident investigation systems should be structured at the national level. In particular, it challenges the traditional separation between search and rescue, we may call it SARF since now, operations and investigation processes. Accidents are systemic events unfolding within complex social technical environments, so therefore the investigation cannot begin only after the response phase. It must be embedded within. In Greece, current practices often face SAR, search and rescue, and investigation as sequential and loosely connected processes. However, this separation risks the loss of critical information, limits situational understanding, and constrains the ability to reconstruct the system conditions that led to the event. The book's central question, what made the event possible, requires access to accurate, timely, and well-preserved data from the earliest moments of the occurrence. Aligning with ICAO Annex 13, we are all aware of it, regulation, investigation must remain independent and focused on safety improvement. At the same time, ICAO Annex 12, which is about search and rescue, highlights the need for coordinated response systems. The gap between these frameworks lies not in their principles, but in their operational integration. Building on the book's philosophy and international frameworks, a restructured model of Greece should establish formal interfaces between search and rescue, SAR, and investigation authority, assuring the next three: early coordination without compromising independence, structured evidence preservation during rescue operations, and shared situational awareness across all actors. This reflects the transition from Safety 1 to Safety 2, where the focus shifts from analyzing failures to understanding system performance under real conditions. Integrating SAR and investigation from the outset enhances both operational effectiveness and the depth of systemic learning, fully embodying the human-centric approach advocated in this book. Additionally, the book emphasizes the integration of advanced methodologies and intelligent tools, including AI, data fusion, and digital systems to support modern investigation processes. Our proposal, your proposal, translates these concepts into operational reality through the use of drones, robotics, and intelligent coordination systems in the early stages of an accident. Drones equipped with AI capabilities can provide immediate situational awareness, mapping the accident area, identifying hazards, and capturing critical data. This directly supports the book's emphasis on data-driven investigation and real-time system understanding, enabling investigators to access high-quality information from the earliest phase of the event. Robotic systems extend this capability by enabling safe access to hazardous environments. In line with the book's human-centric philosophy, these technologies protect human responders while ensuring that the accident scene remains as undisturbed as possible. This dual objective, protecting the life while preserving evidence to objects, is at the core of integrated safety systems. Furthermore, the use of intelligence systems to guide response teams affects the book's focus on supporting human decision-making rather than replacing it. AI can assist in identifying optimal access routes, highlighting sensitive areas, and coordinating movements to minimize disruption to the accident scene. This ensures that rescue and investigation are not competing priorities, but complementary functions within a unified system. Additionally, usage of cameras like GoPros, the cameras that we have at the helicopters, by rescue teams members, as rescue divers, special forces, ground teams as well, as cameras mounted on the airframe of a helicopter or on the top of a vehicle, clearly assist in obtaining first-view pictures of the accident scene. These pics and real-time videos that are taken from the scene, immediately transmitted to the rescue coordination centers, are of paramount importance. They may be used to assist the rescue management teams, enhancing their abilities at the critical moments when a rescue operation is ongoing. On a later stage, they may give additional tools to the investigation teams, providing vital details, assisting the analysis of the accident environment, condition, and causes. The concepts of sanitization and protection of the accident site also evolve within this framework. Instead of relying solely on physical controls, digital tools such as real-time mapping, geofencing, and automated monitoring can maintain the integrity of the site throughout the response phase. These approaches align with the book's integration of digital twins, data fusion, and intelligent safety systems, demonstrating how theoretical models can be operationalized in practice. Ultimately, the restructuring proposal represents a direct application of the book's core message. The safety is not achieved through isolated actions, but through the integration of human performance, technology, and organizational processes. By aligning SAR investigation and intelligence systems within a coherent framework, Greece can develop a modern, resilient safety architecture that reflects both international standards and cutting-edge research. A few words about the SAR operations. Search and rescue operations and missions are of extremely and high importance for the daily lives of citizens and the physical existence of human society, as they are thematic objects and core value, the highest good from a humanitarian point of view, the saving of human life. At the same time, for all nations, and especially for Greece, for us here, they have a great and significant impact on the operation and implementation of each country's foreign and defense policy at international level, with regard to the defense of each of our national interests throughout the respective FIR, with emphasis on the sensitive area of the Aegean for us Greeks. The response time of SAR resources to an incident is perhaps the most important element of the system and largely determines the successful outcome of an operation. SAR missions using aerial assets, mainly the helicopters, constitute a special category of air missions, social contribution and safeguarding of sensitive national interests throughout its nation's FIR. They take place, and we know it very well, at unpredictable times and in all weather conditions, sometimes extreme, day and night, requiring careful and detailed planning and execution in a timely and precise manner in order to minimize the risk to the rescued people, but also to the crews involved. They are diverse, and although they look generally similar, they are essentially different from each other as they are influenced by a multitude of factors that vary each time. And of course, the effective and successful management of SAR incidents is of paramount importance and incalculable value for the everyday life of ordinary citizens, of visitors, and for serving national purposes and defending national interests of each country. It is multidimensional and affects a wide range of activities and a large number of people, as well as air, water, and land vehicles throughout its country territory in all domains. To conclude, I think I'm brief. This book provides the framework. Our responsibility is to translate it into operational reality where response, investigation, and technology work together as one system from the very first moment. Thank you very much.
And last but not least, Dr. Stathis Arapostathis from the National and Kappatos University of Athens.
Thank you very much. I apologize for the delay, and I would like to thank the organizers, and particularly Dimitris, Ziakkas, for inviting me in this fantastic event for the publication, to celebrate the publication of the book. I need to say that I'm the least expert in this room, since I'm a social scientist. So what a social scientist is doing in a, let's say, a presentation and about a book on aviation. I will start with a personal note because I know Dimitris for long. He graduated, he did his PhD in our department, the History and Philosophy department in the University of Athens. And now I'm pleased that he's a member of my lab, which is the Science, Technology and Innovation in Society lab. Yet still, whenever we are meeting and we are working together, he is always saying, do you understand me? Because I have my technocratic view, while you have your sociological view. So when he invited me in this, let's say, event, I said, oh man, what I'm gonna say. And I surprised, because presumably I was biased from the meetings that we have, that he is there as a more technocratic approach, and I'm from the other side where I'm more sociological approach to science and technology. Yet still, as I said, the book was a surprise to me, because finally, it was a pleasure to see how all these studies in our department and in our PhD program really integrate and, let's say, merged into this book. So I would like to congratulate Dimitris, but particularly congratulate him to publish that book, having matured for many years and bringing into the field of aviation, and more particularly into the investigation of transport accidents, a new dimension, which is not only the human, but the sociological dimension. In what sense? In emphasizing the role of experts and expertise, in stressing the role of organization in the investigative practices, in emphasize the inherent risk that big socio-technical systems have, and also in emphasize the role of trust, and I will come to this in a bit. So experts and expertise, the book shows very vividly that we should not think in a linear way. We should not think of aviation, of systems, of accidents in a linear way, and that means that we should not, let's say, seek for one cause. We need to think of aviation systems as systems, and more specifically as socio-technical systems, as our fellow historian and sociology of technology, Thomas Hughes, has taught me and also Dimitris. So emphasis on systemic way of understanding aviation and aviation accidents, and there experts play a key role, because expertise, the book shows, it is situated. That means that it is social constructed, and also that accident investigation involves multiple forms of expertises: technical, operational, human factor expertise, organizational expertise. So we need to find a way to make all this expertise to cohabit. So we need to prepare all this expertise in their institutions to be more reflexive, and also to communicate, to know how to communicate, and not to play the authority role, not the engineer who knows everything, and having the sociologist or the psychologist, and not the engineer who knows everything and not the technician. We need to develop a different way of approaching education of this kind of very important and critical societal problems. And this is something that really the book stresses. It is important that the book also stresses that investigations are sites of coordination and power relations. In what sense? Because there okay, we can have neutral, objective experts, but we should not hide that there are also industrial interests. There are legal constraints, legal frameworks that really make accidents look in a different way in the US from Europe, in Asia from other contexts. So, and also there are political pressures, and we need to identify that and need to bring those clearly into the front and live with these uncertainties and also understand the power relations that accidents involve. Thus, investigation is not just discovering facts. And this is, I believe, is shown in the book. It is about negotiating what counts as valid explanation. Maintaining independence is therefore crucial. Not only technical independence, but political independence. And we have seen that in several cases in our country, in Greece. Why it is important to understand this, and I'm finishing, it is important to understand this because this involves a problem of communication of risk. And risk needs to be understood as inherent in the big socio-technical systems. So we need to understand that communication of risks are in three levels: communication within teams, communication between institutions, and communication with the public. So it is important to educate all the different actors, understand that you need to communicate risk in between the teams and also in different levels. Particularly for the later level, communicating the risk to the public, it is clear that the book addressed the important issue of trust and uncertainty. It is important to, and this is something that really the book stressed, the important distinction between transparency and confidentiality. Not everything can be revealed, but we need to be transparent that we cannot reveal it to the people. So transparency is a very important strategy in order to draw the line between politics and expertise. I would go back to a very vivid and very recent example. How the first wave of pandemic, very different, but it was an example of communicating risk. What Chodras did in the first wave, because went in front and say, look, those are the numbers, but I don't know what the virus is. So simple. That's why it was so successful. He communicated the uncertainty. He was there, the expert, who does not know everything. And this is very important, to understand that if we want to live, and if we have decided to live in a modern society, we have decided to live with big socio-technical systems. Big socio-technical systems are inherently risky. And we need, in every step, particularly when they failed, to exactly and transparently expose what we don't know, our vulnerabilities. And this is a strategy really to build trust to the public. And once more, I would like to thank Dimitris and congratulate Dimitris for this great achievement. Thank you so much.
So, this concludes Group B. We will keep it short with questions, maybe a couple of questions. Any questions to any of the speakers? Well, you wait, because you had your chance before. And by the way, your question was too long last time. Okay. Anybody else? Yes. You want the microphone? Okay.
As an accident investigator is more of a comment than a question. You mentioned conflict of interest.
Who are you posing the question to?
It's more of a comment, but
Okay.
you can answer.
Dimitris,
Because you mentioned given the last presentation and also the first part for conflict of interest, given the nature of the accidents in the last 20 years, for example, 777 and Heathrow, we have to understand that we are going to ask the constructor or the operator to investigate themselves. We will ask Airbus to investigate themselves. We are going to ask Delta Airlines to investigate themselves. So it's a very thin line when we say conflict of interest or public opinion. This is the fact. Maybe it will be done through the accredited representative context or through the lead investigator. But we will need their expertise, their data, their resources. For sure, if it has to do with smaller investigation committees like Greece or other countries. Maybe NTSB don't need them, AIB don't need them, ATSB don't need them, but all the rest will need them. Through a specific context of Annex 13. But we have to understand, and the public opinion has to understand, that Airbus will need to investigate themselves. It's a fact. I don't know if you have any comment on that.
As far as you nicely addressed that challenge, it's called for a specific company, I can say Netflix, and it's not an advertisement for Netflix, it is normalization of deviance. We also covered that in that book, and there were also, most of you were calling Dimitris, it's easy, but Debra, it was equally also responsible for that crime that we created. So, yes, the independence, but we have a different approach in Annex 13 and all the investigations, that there are different I can say options. We have what the state mentioned about the accident, what is the individual regarding other statements of the industry, and more of that, it is what the Civil Aviation Authority and the other authorities accept or not, and they can restrict that. For me, the question, as you addressed, is if we have an accident, not to have, that's good, nothing happen. If we have now an accident in X type, who takes the operational decision, the remaining airplanes fly, how you will communicate the problem, and the third part is how you will regain that trust to the system for all the other passengers to fly with the same device that yesterday crashed. That is the big, for me, challenge, as you mentioned. So, to summarize, yes, what you mentioned is 100%. But if you don't have an agency, an authority that is independent, you cannot have this. Otherwise, you are creating the paradox of investigation that is giving answers that specific part of the actors they want to listen. And that's according to our law, it is a crime. Remember, for the leadership, as we are a lot of us from the Air Force, and I forgot to thank the Air Force leader, the General, for his attendance here through John Thanasis, who is in the Hellenic Air Force Academy. We must have honesty, integrity, and responsibility of what's happening. So also this applies. And regarding Faidon, what mentioned, it is exactly the different approaches regarding how we can see every accident. And then maybe the best answer can be given from the last speaker, what we expect from investigation as public, and what the investigators are expecting from the public when they are on job. What is the pressure? So if Stathis can help on that, it will be, I think, a good distribution as closing because we are approaching the time limitations.
I don't want to
Yeah,
disappoint
of course.
my friend.
Yeah.
Picking up the ball from...
But please do keep it short, because we are running out of time.
Yes, based on crisis management and terror management theories, I would like to ask all the speakers what is their positions regarding the first line responders, not only censorship responders, but also safety investigators in terms of second victim theory. What is your position on that?
It's a little difficult to have 10 opinions at this point. Okay. Can you limit it?
Ziakkas and Dr. Arapostathis.
All right. You want to go first?
Stathis, would you like to start? And just no? Okay. So, now, as you mentioned, it's the crisis management. Okay. That is a matter of which culture we are working with. We are with the European attitude or with American attitude. We have a different approach on how we challenge the authority and also if we are patient waiting for the results. Moreover, I can elaborate more on that, but I think this is not an easy answer, and honestly, I cannot give it in 1 minute. We can, as far as we have a lot of discussions together, we can go further on that in a different time and not to expanding so much the discussion. Apologies for that, but I think it's better to keep it more simple.
You want the microphone or do you want to come up?
Thank you for the question. As I said, I'm not an expert on aviation, so this needs much more thinking and elaboration. But what I would like to stress is I think that we conceptualize public as very passive, while public is active. So we need to start thinking of public, not that public does not know and we can educate or we can control it. On the contrary, whenever the public faces uncertainties and faces, let's say, experts that really produce an image of vulnerable and not of authoritative, this is something that the public can trust and public can really wait and take time until the final verdict or until the finalization of an investigation. And for me, temporality, that means time, is very important. I understand time is important from what I said in building expertises and communicating of expertises, in building what in sociological theory of science, building trading zones. So we need trade zones, not expertises. We need trade zones. So we need areas where communication of different experts, different expertises really facilitate. And this is, education is the place to take, to structure this trading zone. And we need trading zone whenever we communicate. So we need a different kind of language to communicate. And this is time consuming in order to build this kind of skills and to build this kind of new languages. I don't know if I have answered you, but I tried. Thank you.
So this wraps up our presentation and our discussion. Many thanks to both Dimitris and Debra for their wonderful book and for the opportunity they gave me to moderate this wonderful evening. I hope I wasn't very annoying to any of you. Thank you all for joining. And again, many thanks for having me.